YouTube, what is good? Welcome back to another video. Didn't think I was going to be slipping on these 2 videos a week, did you? Absolutely not. But anyway, just some quick fire knowledge for you today. Just wanted to run through a short little video in which I had in mind, because I feel like if I left this any later, I would just look like a little bit of a fool, because we are now 1 month into 2026. So I just wanted to run you through 10 lessons in which I learned in 2025 that I feel would be massively beneficial for you going into 2026. Now, the first one, and probably one of the most important, and that is fuck monk mode. Monk mode is a load of fucking bullshit. Why? Because I tried it last year, and trust me, it does not work. Now, I would watch YouTubers that would run through monk mode, and if you're not sure what it is, it's basically an extended period of time in which you basically just shut yourself off from society, lock in, and you're meant to get deep into work. You're meant to just work. You can nip out in the day if you need to get food or go to the gym, and then you come home and you continue to work. You don't see your friends, you don't date, you don't really do anything fun, in all honesty. You just work, and it's meant to get you way further ahead than the competition. Now, it doesn't, or at least it didn't for me. Now, I'm not saying it hasn't worked for other people, but I personally just don't believe in it. Reason being is because I feel like from past experience, not just having attempted this for the first 6 months of last year and pretty much shutting myself off from everyone, but with competition prep as well. Now, you think, I used to be a bodybuilder. I used to spend 16 to 20 weeks at a time prepping for a bodybuilding show where I had to be super regimented with my diet, my training, my routine. I wasn't allowed to eat out. I had to lay off the booze, had to skip social events. And by the end of each and every competition prep, I was absolutely yearning just for some social interaction. I just wanted to speak to people. I just wanted to go and see my mates. I wanted to go for a drink with them. I wanted to go for a coffee with them. Now, with monk mode, you will most probably feel very, very similar. It gets to a point where you're so shut off from society, you almost forget what it's like to socially interact with people. You start to go a little bit weird. You start not knowing how to communicate with others. It makes you feel fucking miserable. You feel completely isolated. And with that, it almost affects your work in that regards. Whereas the whole concept of it in the first place is you're meant to be more dialed in and more focused on your work. You're meant to get more deep, meaningful work done. It didn't really work out like that for me because I wasn't enjoying my work as much. I wasn't enjoying life as much. I feel like I am most productive day to day when I actually have things to look forward to in the calendar, when I potentially have a day a week where I see my friends, or I spend time with my family, or I maybe just have a day off work where I'm not on my phone, I'm not on my laptop, and I'm doing something outdoors, or I'm doing something completely non-work related, because that helps me really recharge the batteries and ultimately go into the following day's work and be more effective, get better work done, get good work done. I feel like for me, when I lock in for an extended period of time and that is all I'm doing is working, all I'm doing is training, I'm abiding by my routine. I feel like if I do that for too long, it gets to the point where I feel that urge for a blowout. And then from there, it maybe goes a little bit too out of hand. I go off the rails a touch, and from there you almost feel completely burnt out in that regard. I feel like monk mode only leads to burnout because where you are so shut off from everything around you, you're less inspired by the work in which you are doing. So I honestly think the way to go about it is work fucking hard, do good work, do meaningful work, but know when to push and pull. Right? Know when to take a little bit of time away from the laptop, know when to be off your phone, know when to enjoy a social, and know ultimately when to pick and choose your battles, because locking in for an extended period of time, shutting yourself off from society is not the way to do it. That's not the way to live your life, and it certainly won't progress you any further because you're going to feel so uninspired by what you're doing, and you want to feel inspired by what you're doing, and you want to feel inspired each and every day by what you're doing, and you're only going to do that if you're living a good quality life where you get fulfillment, you wake up with purpose, you're waking up with goals and actionables in order to box, in order to get to where you want to be. But you don't want to completely shut yourself off from society in order to do that. Trust me, I've tried it and it doesn't work. Number 2, and I suppose you could tie this into the monk mode, but that is get yourself out there, right? Get outdoors, meet people, network with people. I can honestly say if it's one thing in which I learned from 2025 with some of the opportunities in which I had presented to me, it literally came from getting myself out there, getting my face out there, meeting new people, networking with new people, introducing myself to others. And with that, I managed to do some pretty cool things in which I never thought I would ever be able to do. Some things in which I'm really, really proud of. Now with that, if you try and go into whatever you're doing as a quote unquote lone wolf, you walk into the gym, you don't want to speak to anyone, you just want to get your head down and train. You don't turn up to networking events, you don't turn up to social events, you don't link up with other coaches, creators, entrepreneurs within your industry in order to throw ideas back and forth, network and connect with, then you are seriously holding yourself back from being able to progress further in what it is that you're trying to achieve. Networking, I believe, is extremely important. I would say one of the main things in which has helped me to get to where I am today is knowing the right people, speaking to the right people, learning from the right people. So get yourself out there more. Try to network with people that have achieved what you want to achieve. If you're inspired by someone and what they're doing, pick their brain, try and get information from them. Right? Everyone has something to offer. You never know where meeting new people may lead you to, the opportunities in which you may get later down the line. So get yourself out there, meet people, network with people. Do not completely shut yourself off from potential opportunities later down the line. Number 3, and that is that upskilling yourself is one of the best investments in which you could ever make. Now, I do not even want to think of the amount of money in which I've spent in the past 6 years in which I've been in the fitness industry now on educational courses, seminars, business mentorships in order to upskill myself in what I'm doing and get to where I am today. I have spent a hell of a lot of money on learning how to be a better coach, on learning the fundamentals on how to run a successful business, going to seminars and listening to coaches that have achieved what I want to achieve and learn off of them. But it will absolutely pay you back tenfold with how you'll then be able to scale your business from there. By upskilling yourself. Upskilling yourself is the fastest way to scale, and investing into a mentor or coach is one of the best investments in which you could ever make. You have to pay to play at the end of the day, and making an investment into yourself is one of the best things in which you can ever do. Number 4, and that is never follow trends. Now, fucking hell, this is one that really came to bite me on the arse at the start of the year. Now, I'm not sure if any of you follow me on Instagram. If you do not, then I will drop my Instagram right there. But if you were to scroll down on my Instagram to the start of 2025, probably from January to April time, I was posting content that was just not me at all. It was not me at all. Just watch my content from that time. It was not relatable to me whatsoever. It was not content in which I wanted to create. I'll be completely honest, I got caught up massively with following trends and trying to chase views because I thought that's what I needed to do in order to grow, scale and get to where I wanted to be by the end of 2025. I was in my kitchen doing reels around high protein recipes. I was getting props such as chocolate bars and Coke cans in order to talk around good quality foods and bad quality foods and comparing the calories of this and that. And it was just, I look back at it now and I cringe so hard because that's not me. That's not who I am. It's not really the sort of content in which I want to create. It's not the message in which I want to deliver. Now, my content, if you follow my Instagram now and you see all my recent content, that very much is me. That is what I believe in. That is what I want to preach. That is the message in which I want to get across. And that is what I'm going to do going forward. Now, the reason I got caught up in following trends is because I wanted to build a following. I wanted to get loads of views. I thought that that was the way to scale and that was the way to grow. I'll be completely honest, seeing that I was getting a lot of views and that I was getting a lot of engagement, it made me feel good, right? I got that dopamine from it. But really, it left me feeling completely empty when I realized that I wasn't being true to myself, because that was not me. That's not the message in which I wanted to get across. It's not the sort of content in which I wanted to create. Now, if you are someone who creates content, if you are someone who wants to create content, here is my advice. This is the best advice in which I can give you, and that is create content that is true to who you are. Create the content in which you want to create. Not only will that be better content because you're going to be more inspired by the content in which you're creating, you'll build an audience that is actually truly invested into you and who you are, and not just this fake facade in which you're putting on. And with that, you're going to attract your ideal client. If you're trying to use your audience to monetize that audience for whatever it is that you're selling, whether that's a product, a service, whatever it may be, you're going to attract your ideal customer if you're coming across as your authentic self on camera. I wasn't back in the start of 2025, and it bit me in the arse massively. It took me a little while last year to really find my feet with the content in which I wanted to create, and I'm never going to fall into that trap again. I will never fall into that trap again, because I am going to create the content in which I want to create, and I'm going to get to where I want to be by being my true authentic self. So never follow trends. It will never get you anywhere. It will leave you completely unfulfilled. Number 5, and that is you do not have all the time in the world. Now, I turned 26 back in November. I swear to God, I was 18, I blinked, the next minute I was 26. Time will pass you by very, very fast. Now, yes, if I look back within that time frame, a hell of a lot has happened, but you blink and it goes like that. Whatever it is in which you want to do in life, do not pass by on the opportunity. Whether that is you want to start a new side hustle, you want to start a business, you want to get in the shape of your life, you want to compete in a fitness event, you want to move countries, relocate, wherever it may be, do not sit on it, right? Because life will pass you by very, very quick, and before you know it, the opportunity would have gone. Because life passes by very, very quick, and before you know it, the opportunity would have passed by as well. This sounds a little bit fucking deep and a little bit extreme and a little bit dark, right? But unfortunately for all of us, me, you watching this right now, the end destination is the same for everyone. It's the grave. Unfortunately, we all come into this world the exact same way, and it ends the exact same way for all of us. It's about making that middle part really fucking good. Do what it is that you want to do. Do what it is that inspires you. If you have an ambition, a dream, a goal, whatever it may be, go for it. Give it your 100%. Give it your absolute all. And so what if it doesn't work out? You would rather try and fail at something than just not try at all. So whatever it is in which you want to do it now. Do not sit on it. Do not wait for it. Like I say, the opportunity will pass you by. Make the most of your time in which you have on this earth, because it goes by very, very fast. Number 6, and this is potentially a little bit of a controversial one as well, but do not compare yourself to others. Compete with others. Now, what do I mean by that? Because my younger self, Finn, in his late teens, early 20s, would have posted a cringy, shirtless Instagram pic and quoted it something along the lines of, the only competition you have is the man in which you have looking back at you in the mirror. Now, yeah, I completely get that, right? And I think what a lot of people mean when they say things like that is don't ever compare yourself to others, right? Because everyone is on a different journey to you, and people would have taken a completely different path to what you have. So I do agree with that. Don't ever compare yourself to others, but compete with others, right? That is how men get ahead in life. And you could almost compare this to anything, but I guarantee you any high achiever in any industry has had someone within that industry that is a competitor that they have used in order to get better at what they are doing and in order to progress at what it is that they're doing. You could take Ronaldo and Messi, for example, right? I'm pretty sure Ronaldo has even come out in interviews and said that he would not be the player in which he is today if it wasn't for having that competition from Lionel Messi. You could use Kobe and LeBron. You could use Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer. The list goes on. But ultimately, having a competitor, having someone in which you have that rivalry with, that's someone in which you want to be better than, you want to make sure that you're always one step ahead of, someone in which makes you want to work harder, someone who gives you that scarcity of falling behind. Again, don't compare yourself with them as such, because their situation will be completely different to yours, but compete with them. Try and get ahead of them. Try and be better than them. I truly believe that is how men get ahead in life, because they have competition. If we didn't have competition, then why the fuck are we trying to get better at anything? I'll be completely honest. I love competition. If I didn't have competition, then fuck me, I would not be working as hard as what I do now. I would not be waking up at 5 a.m. every morning and heading to the gym. I would not be working the hours in which I do. I would not be sticking to my diet plan each and every day. I would not be training in the gym as hard as what I do. I'm here on a Sunday evening filming this YouTube video right now. Do you really think I would be doing this if I didn't have competition, if I didn't have guys in which I was trying to get ahead of? It is embedded into men to compete against other men. Men, since the absolute dawn of time, have competed against other men. It is within our nature. It is within our DNA. We are wanting to compete against other men. We are wanting to be better than other men. We are wanting to be top dog. That is what men are wired to do. Having other men to compete against will always benefit you when it comes to the work in which you do in order to get ahead and in order to win. So find an enemy, find an arch nemesis. You don't necessarily have to beef them, but you can just have them there in the corner of your eye. Keep an eye on what they're doing, monitor what it is that they do, and compete against them. Aim to get better than them, whether that's getting in better shape, whether that's running a more successful business, getting a hotter girlfriend, I don't know, whatever the fuck it is, right? It could be absolutely anything, but do not compare yourself with other men. Compete with other men. Number 7, and I suppose you could tie this into the last point, and that is find your circle. Men need men more than ever nowadays, not just with the example in which I just gave, but your networking circle, your circle of boys in which you spend time with, in which you hang around with, right? Find mates, find a group of people in which you network with that motivate you, that get you to think bigger, that make you want to work harder. Like I said, men need men more than ever nowadays, and finding the right group of men will be absolutely crucial when it comes to your success. I'm sure you've all heard the saying, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Now, as old as that saying is, there's a reason it's withstood the test of time, because it is absolutely true. Find your circle, find your tribe, find a group of men in which push you to do better, in which make you want to work harder, make you think bigger, make you set bigger goals, men that raise the standard for you, and watch how much further you'll succeed from there. Number 8, you are always in the good old days. Now, this one really kind of hit me when I heard it on a podcast. I think the podcast was a Modern Wisdom podcast with Chris Williamson and Alex Hormozy. And Alex Hormozy said, you don't realize it, but you are always in the good old days, so make the most of now. It's crazy because I look back to when I had a hell of a lot less priorities. Life was a hell of a lot more carefree. I was a little bit more reckless. I didn't have as much stress as say. And you look back on them days and you think, oh, that they were the good old days, right? You know, I have a lot more on my plate now, and don't get me wrong, I'd much rather be on this journey and this trajectory in which I'm on now, but cool, I miss being young, I miss being careless. But I guarantee I will look back on my life now in the next 10 years and I'll be like, wow, they were the good old days. All I had to focus on was coaching, YouTube. I got to do whatever I wanted to do, spend 3 months in Bali, working hard with the boys and continuing to build and scale New Gen, because at that point in life, I may have settled down, I may have had kids, I may have even more priorities in which I do now. And the same goes for the following 10, 20 years from there. You may look back on that point of life, don't you miss the kids being young? Don't you miss being able to do things with them and spend a little bit more time with them? Because now they're grown up, they're wanting to do their own thing. They're wanting to explore life for themselves. Again, you don't realize it, but you are constantly living in the good old days. So make the absolute most of now, because you are never gonna get this moment back. Number 9, run towards what it is that scares you. Now, I suppose this one really kind of came apparent to me when I made the decision to go to Bali for 3 months this year and potentially even go back and live a further extended period of time towards the back end of the year, or maybe throughout the summer, whatever it may be. But I'll be completely honest, I do have mixed feelings when it comes to completely moving my life elsewhere, forcing myself to adapt to a new environment, meet new people, make it work in a place in which I'm completely unfamiliar with. But there's a reason in which I wanted to do that, because it scares me. I know that there is going to be growth on the other end of that. I know that leaving the nest, leaving my hometown, putting myself in a completely foreign environment that I have no knowledge on whatsoever, I know that the man that I will become off the back of that is a far better man that is sitting in front of you speaking to this camera right now. Now, I think it is completely fine to be scared when you are setting big goals for yourself, when you're challenging yourself to new things, when you are exposing yourself to things in which you've never done before. If anything, I think that's good. Run towards what scares you, because on the other side of that is growth. Being scared of the things in which you want to do and the goals in which you've set does not make you a coward. You're only a coward when you do not follow through with the thing in which it is that scares you. And I will never live my life as a coward. I will never live my life in fear. I will never live my life in regret, and nor should you. Run towards what it is that scares you. I'll be completely honest, when I was writing down my goals at the start of this year for what I want to achieve in 2026, I genuinely felt a little bit sick in my stomach. And if your goals do not make you feel like that, then you need to go back and you need to reassess your goals, because you are not thinking big enough. 10, and probably the most important, is no one gives a fuck. No one gives a fuck about you or what you're doing or what it is that you're working towards. And that sounds a little bit fucking harsh, doesn't it? And I don't say that to be a dick, but everyone has their own shit going on. It's not that they're bad people. It's not that they're complete assholes. Everyone is just too focused on themselves to care about what it is that you're doing. The entry-level acid test to try and make it at anything in life is embarrassment. Whether that is starting a new business, a side hustle, creating content, whatever it may be. The reason a lot of guys do not go for what it is that they want because they're embarrassed. They're scared about what other people will think. The reason a lot of guys don't go for what it is that they want is because they're scared of what other people think. And living in fear of others' opinions is what is truly holding you back. So do whatever the fuck it is that you want, because realistically, no one cares. They all got their own things to worry about. Do what it is that you want to do, because again, living your life in fear of others' opinions is what's holding you back. The last thing you want is to get to a grey old age, look back and think, could have probably had a better run. You know, if only I'd tried to take up on that opportunity, or if only I'd gave that a go. That's the last thing you want. Trust me, do not live your life in fear of others' opinions, because no one cares. But anyway, that is everything from this video. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.